Sonic and fan games go together like sweet and salty flavors. On paper, you might not think that they should complement each other, but man, do they ever work great as a team. Sonic and the Fallen Star is a wonderful example of how Sonic fan games are sometimes even better than the official stuff that Sega puts out. Despite being developed by Stardrop and the OST by Holly Taylor, you could full-on convince me that this was an official 2D Sonic game if I didn't know any better. Gameplay-wise, this game is as smooth as butter when it comes to the controls. I really love running around these elaborate levels, each with their own unique themes and elements to them. Everything from the foreground to the background was just brimming with charm and detail. There were actual points in this game where I wanted to stop and stare at the scenery, but at the same time, I was just having so much fun running as fast as I could that I didn't want to slow down. Sonic and the Fallen Star also features a great deal of power-ups, with some of them adding to the gameplay, such as a square bubble shield that lets you bounce around and in my opinion was some of the most fun to use, an electric triangle shield that pulls rings towards you but also lets you do this kind of cool homing attack, and overall it aesthetically looks very awesome. And lastly, there's this really sick fire shield that just sends you rocketing up in the sky whenever you use it, and it's honestly a ton of fun to use. All of these shields are great. I enjoyed all of them pretty much equally, with the bubble shield just kind of outranking everyone because I like bounce. The game also manages to balance a challenging game while being really fair. In my full playthrough, I don't remember encountering a single bottomless pit outside of the special zones, but we'll get to that. And you have unlimited lives in this game, so even at the hardest of challenges, you can try again as many times as you'd like, and as someone who often struggles with 2D Sonic games, I really appreciate that. However, I did have some issues that I don't think were actually super related to my skill level, and those largely involved the bosses of this game. In general, most bosses looked really cool. Like, the game starts you off against this giant sunglasses wearing guy, and it's really fun at first. These bosses take so many hits to finish off, and it gets to the point where it's just downright annoying, and sometimes dealing with them I just get really frustrated and bored as I'm waiting for them to cycle through their attack pattern so that I can hit them. By far the most annoying example of this was this one against Eggman about 3/4 of the way through the game. You need to hit this guy so many times, and it genuinely took me so many attempts because he would just slowly whittle away my rings throughout this incredibly long fight, and like seriously, I wanted to quit this game because I was getting so just frustrated and bored fighting him over and over again. Metal Sonic was also a weird one. He shows up and I feel like he's like super underutilized. His fight overall is crazy easy compared to pretty much every boss inside of this game, and it almost left me disappointed that I didn't have a longer fight against him unlike the other bosses. Hitboxes also on the bosses just feel kinda weird and a little bit jank. Like, sometimes I couldn't tell what I was supposed to be doing. Like, look at this boss fight, which is against a cup. It felt super weird, and sometimes I legitimately couldn't tell where I was supposed to hit, why I was hitting that, why sometimes I hit it, why sometimes I would get hit instead. And I know that I'm being pretty negative right now, but it's really just the bosses that have been my least favorite aspect of this game. Now everything else is just on this really amazing level with all kinds of really interesting things sprinkled throughout the game to keep me coming back. And speaking of these little hidden secrets sprinkled around, I want to talk about the special zones. I genuinely really enjoyed the special zones when I first encountered them. There are these fun high-speed chases where you need to collect enough blue balls to make Sonic go fast to catch up to the Chaos Emerald, but speed in this is a double-edged sword, as there's also these red balls that become harder to avoid the faster you go, and whenever you do hit them, you end up losing some speed. So it becomes this hectic race as you try to go as fast as you can while also trying to avoid the red balls, and also trying to keep your ring count up as to stop the counter from reaching 0 before you get to the Chaos Emerald. I ended up only finishing 4 out of the 7 special stages, and let me tell you, I encountered way more than 4 of these big rings that bring you to the special stages. Just special stage 4 is gonna haunt my dreams for a while now. It was challenging but fair, and I'm not gonna blame the game on this part because it was really just me struggling with this stage until I got the hang of it. The biggest issue here was that the special stages are a lot less forgiving than the main game. You don't have as many tries as you want. Basically, once you fail, that ring is done and you'll have to find another ring to do that special stage again. But luckily, there's a lot of these hidden throughout the different zones, so it's not like they're super hard to find. It's just I wasn't up to snuff when it came to beating these levels, especially when they started throwing bottomless pits my way. As far as plot goes, this isn't anything too crazy, but it is also a 2D Sonic game, so it's not like I was expecting much. Sonic and Tails are in a plane, they see a falling star, they go after it, and Eggman tries to use it to power his fleet. What makes this story incredibly charming though is the animated cutscenes that just ooze personality. There's no voice acting here, or really any noise coming from either Sonic or Tails, but they managed to convey so much emotion that I genuinely found myself excited to finish zones so that I could see one of these little cutscenes play out in front of me. I particularly like this one where Sonic wall jumps through a cityscape. Overall, it just gave me some really fun Sonic Adventure vibes, but like in 2D. And listen, I mean this in like the absolute nicest way possible, but these scenes reminded me so much of my youth on Newgrounds, watching these animated videos of my favorite video game characters, and I mean that with the most respect and kindness possible. There's some genuine heart put into these scenes, and with so much unique artwork, it's really impressive to behold. On top of unique artwork, one of my favorite add-ons in this game is the progression of Sonic's legs while he's running, making him top out at this crazy figure 8 when he's going as fast as he can, and it really looks awesome, and it's not an easy feat to accomplish to get him to go that fast and keep him going that fast. On top of that, the OST is just straight up banging. I mean, going into the final part of the game, you're introduced to this really amazing song that makes the final assault on Eggman feel genuinely epic as you're zooming through his ship and just running to get to him. It's honestly straight up awesome, and the special stages also have a really amazing soundtrack to them as well. Now, like I said, I just couldn't get all of the Chaos Emeralds. I'm genuinely not good at 2D Sonic, and the 4th special stage just proved to be my white whale. But let me tell you, it felt so good. Like, it's been a really long time since I've felt this sense of accomplishment playing a game when I finally managed to beat the 4th special stage. The music, like I said before, is just straight up amazing. Sonic's animations when hitting the jumps and running around with his crazy spinny legs is just so awesome, and I wish that I just didn't beat it this late into the game. Like, seriously, I think you need to watch me play it and beat it because it feels cool, it looks cool, everything about it aesthetic and design-wise is just straight up awesome. Now, with this game finished, and yes, I know I didn't get the best ending, what are my overall thoughts? Well, personally, I love this game. I legit think it's some of the most fun I've ever had, not only playing a Sonic fan game, but a 2D Sonic game in general. I seriously don't remember the last time I had this much fun since like Sonic Rush on the DS. Everything is just so nice and polished. I love how this game offers multiple routes without being punishing to players who don't play well. The lack of lives and bottomless pits really helps this game out, and the soundtrack, legit, some of the best stuff I've heard in a long time in any video game. To really drive this home, I would go as far as to say that I'd like to replay this game and try to get all of the Chaos Emeralds, which honestly is something I have never said about a Sonic game in my entire life, as most of the time I'm pretty happy just having finished them. I would 100% recommend this to anyone looking for a fun Sonic or even just a fun 2D platformer game. I want to give a special thanks, of course, to AGT Plasma on my Discord channel, who suggested that I take a look at this game. I really appreciate it, and if you'd like to suggest anything that you think I might like or that you would enjoy to see, feel free to do so in the comments, or you can join us on Discord and let me know over there as well. If you enjoyed this video and think that I deserve any kind of like, subscribe, comment, anything that you feel like, maybe your firstborn child, feel free to do so, but at the end of the day, I'm not your boss, so I don't need it. I just hope that you have a good one.